Donald Trump just dropped a bombshell, and Stellantis is caught right in the crossfire. This isn't just another speech, it's a bold move shaking the auto industry to its core. What did Trump say that has Stellantis scrambling? And could this be the tipping point for one of the world's biggest automakers? You won't believe the ripple effects this is causing, and this will affect you and me. Trump versus Stellantis. Donald Trump's recent tirade against Stellantis has turned into a full-blown national spectacle, sparking fiery debates and fierce loyalties. Stellantis, a global automotive behemoth with roots deeply intertwined in American manufacturing history, is now at the center of a political and economic maelstrom. Trump's accusations have painted the company as a corporate traitor, prioritizing profit over patriotism. But is this just political theater, or is Stellantis truly guilty of abandoning the American workforce? The automotive industry is no stranger to criticism, but Trump's relentless campaign against Stellantis feels personal. At a Michigan rally, he accused the company of outsourcing jobs and selling out the very workers who helped build its empire. Stellantis has chosen greed over gratitude, profits over people, he declared to thunderous applause. The stakes couldn't be higher. This is no longer just about cars, it's about the identity of American manufacturing. At the heart of Trump's criticism lies Stellantis' global strategy, which has seen the company shifting production to countries like Mexico and China. This has led to widespread layoffs in the US, leaving thousands of workers disillusioned and angry. Trump's accusations hit a nerve. Is Stellantis exploiting cheaper labor markets at the expense of American jobs? Carlos Tavares, the CEO of Stellantis, has defended these decisions as necessary for the company's survival in an increasingly competitive market. Our goal is to ensure the longevity of our brands while meeting the demands of a global economy, Tavares stated in a recent press release. But to many, these words ring hollow. Workers who have lost their jobs feel abandoned, and critics argue that Stellantis' actions are eroding the trust and loyalty that once defined its relationship with its American workforce. This raises a crucial question. Can a company remain globally competitive without sacrificing its responsibility to its home country? Or has Stellantis crossed a line that can't be undone? The EV revolution, progress or problem? One of the most contentious issues fueling this controversy is Stellantis' aggressive push towards electric vehicles. The company has invested billions in EV production, with plans to electrify iconic brands like Jeep and Dodge. While this move positions Stellantis as a leader in the rapidly growing EV market, Trump has framed it as a betrayal of traditional American values. These EVs aren't about progress, Trump thundered during his speech. They're about control. Control by the global elite who want to dictate how Americans live and work. His words struck a chord with those who view the EV revolution as a threat to their way of life. Traditional manufacturing jobs are being replaced by automated processes, leaving many workers feeling left behind. But industry experts see it differently. Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors, argued during a recent panel discussion, the shift to EVs is not a betrayal, it's a necessity. The automotive world is changing, and we need to adapt to stay relevant. This is about ensuring our future, not abandoning our past. Trump's critics have pointed out the irony in his statements, given that his administration once touted EV development as part of a strategy to reduce dependence on foreign oil. Is Trump truly fighting for the American worker, or is he using this controversy to fuel his political ambitions? The human cost of Stellantis' decisions cannot be ignored. Workers who have been laid off or seen their factories closed are speaking out, adding fuel to the fire of Trump's campaign. At his Michigan rally, Trump invited several former Stellantis employees to share their stories, and their accounts were heartbreaking. Mark Davis, a former assembly line worker at a Stellantis plant in Illinois, described the devastation of losing his job after 20 years. "I put my heart and soul into that job, and now I'm left with nothing," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "They told us it was about staying competitive, but all I see is corporate greed." These stories resonate deeply with Trump's base, but they also raise difficult questions. How can companies balance the need to innovate with their responsibility to the workers who have dedicated their lives to them? And is the American auto industry prepared to navigate the challenges of a changing economy? The politics of patriotism. Trump's attack on Stellantis is more than just a critique of corporate strategy. It's a calculated political move. With the 2024 elections looming, Trump has found a powerful rallying cry in his campaign against outsourcing and globalization. By framing Stellantis as the enemy of the American worker, he positions himself as the savior of the blue-collar class. But his critics are quick to call out the hypocrisy. Many argue that Trump's own policies during his presidency, such as tax cuts for corporations and a trade war with China contributed to the very problems he's now blaming Stellantis for. Senator Bernie Sanders didn't hold back, tweeting, "Trump's crocodile tears for American workers are a joke. His administration gave massive handouts to corporations like Stellantis, and now he's pretending to care about the people they hurt." This political chess game has turned Stellantis into a symbol of a much larger battle over America's economic future. Will Trump's attacks lead to real change, or are they just another ploy to rally his base? The EV gamble, a future in flux. As Stellantis doubles down on its electric vehicle strategy, the company finds itself walking a tightrope between innovation and alienation. Its ambitious plans to electrify flagship brands like Jeep and Dodge have been lauded by environmentalists and progressive leaders, yet fiercely criticized by Trump and his base. The question on everyone's mind, is this bold move a step towards securing the future or the beginning of the end for an American automotive legacy? The stakes couldn't be higher. Stellantis has pledged over $30 billion toward EV production, announcing plans for new battery plants and a complete overhaul of its manufacturing infrastructure. This includes cutting-edge facilities in Mexico and Europe, which, according to CEO Carlos Tavares, are critical to maintaining global competitiveness. But at what cost? The shift to EVs isn't just reshaping the industry, it's redefining the very nature of American manufacturing. Traditional assembly line jobs are being replaced by roles that demand specialized skills in robotics and software engineering. For many blue-collar workers, this shift feels like betrayal. Is Stellantis abandoning its roots, or is this simply the price of progress? Industry experts have pointed out the harsh economic realities driving Stellantis' decisions. Producing EVs is expensive, and US labor costs remain significantly higher than those in Mexico or China. By outsourcing production, Stellantis can save billions in manufacturing expenses. But does this financial strategy justify the social and political fallout? Kristen Dietschek, a leading economist specializing in the automotive sector, weighed in during a recent interview. The transition to EVs is disruptive, there's no way around it, but Stellantis is taking an aggressive approach that risks alienating both its workforce and its consumer base. The question is whether these short-term gains will pay off in the long run, but Trump isn't interested in nuance. At a recent rally, he doubled down on his criticism, claiming they're destroying good-paying American jobs to make batteries nobody wants. It's a disaster. While the data shows growing consumer interest in EVs, Trump's rhetoric has struck a chord with those who feel left behind by the Green Revolution. A divided workforce. The impact of Stellantis' decisions is most acutely felt by its workers. Factory closures and layoffs have devastated communities that relied on automotive jobs for generations. At the same time, the company is pouring resources into high-tech facilities that require a completely different skill set. This growing divide between old and new jobs has created a rift within Stellantis' workforce. James Rodriguez, a former employee at Stellantis' Belvidere plant in Illinois, expressed his frustration in an emotional interview. "We built this company, and now they're telling us we're obsolete. How are we supposed to compete with robots and engineers? They don't care about us, they just care about their bottom line." Stellantis, however, insists that it is investing in worker retraining programs to help employees transition into new roles. In a press release, the company highlighted its partnerships with technical colleges and its commitment to creating future-proof jobs. But for many workers, these promises feel hollow. Will Stellantis' attempts to bridge this gap be enough to restore trust, or is the divide too wide to overcome? Trump's assault on Stellantis is more than just an economic critique. It's a rallying cry for a particular brand of patriotism. By framing the company's global strategy as an attack on American values, he has turned Stellantis into a symbol of everything he claims to fight against: globalization, environmental regulation, and corporate elitism. At a recent rally in Ohio, Trump declared, "Stellantis is everything that's wrong with the globalist agenda. They're shipping jobs overseas, bowing to the radical green agenda, and abandoning the American worker. We won't stand for it." The crowd erupted in cheers, underscoring the resonance of this message with his base. But critics argue that Trump's rhetoric is more about political theater than genuine concern. During his presidency, Trump often touted the successes of automakers, including Stellantis, despite the company's growing reliance on overseas production. Senator Elizabeth Warren didn't mince words, tweeting, "Trump's fake outrage is as transparent as it is hypocritical. He had 4 years to stand up to corporate corporate greed, and he did nothing. A calculated strategy? Political analysts believe Trump's focus on Stellantis is part of a broader strategy to energize his base ahead of the 2024 election. By casting himself as the champion of the working class, he aims to reclaim the support of voters in key swing states like Michigan and Pennsylvania. But this strategy isn't without risks. Trump's relentless attacks on Stellantis have alienated some business leaders, including those in the automotive industry. Carlos Ghosn, the former CEO of Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi, recently criticized Trump's approach during an interview with Bloomberg. Targeting individual companies for political gain is short-sighted and dangerous. The automotive industry needs stability, not divisive rhetoric. Will Trump's gamble pay off, or will his attacks backfire, costing him support among moderates and independents? The back and forth between Trump and Stellantis has created a media frenzy, with both sides trading barbs in the press. Trump's campaign has released a series of ads targeting the company, accusing it of selling out America and putting profits over patriotism. Stellantis, for its part, has taken a more measured approach, releasing statements that emphasize its commitment to innovation and sustainability. In a recent interview with CNBC, Carlos Tavares said, "We understand the concerns being raised, but we believe that the future of the automotive industry lies in electrification and globalization. These are challenging times, but we are confident in our vision." Will Stellantis' restrained response be enough to defuse the situation, or does it risk making the company look weak in the face of Trump's attack? American manufacturing at a crossroads. The controversy surrounding Stellantis is part of a larger debate about the future of American manufacturing. As industries adapt to a rapidly changing global economy, traditional models of production are being upended. The rise of automation, the push for sustainability, and the pressures of globalization are forcing companies to rethink their strategies. For many, Stellantis represents the growing pains of this transition. The company's decisions reflect the difficult choices facing all manufacturers: how to stay competitive in a global market while maintaining a commitment to their home countries. Economists warn that the fallout from this controversy could have far-reaching consequences. If Trump's campaign against Stellantis gains traction, it could lead to increased scrutiny of other automakers and pressure on lawmakers to enact stricter regulations on outsourcing and automation. But others caution against overreacting. The automotive industry is undergoing a seismic shift, says industry analyst Jessica Caldwell. Companies like Stellantis are making tough decisions because they have to, not because they want to. This is a time for cooperation, not conflict. Will America embrace this new era of manufacturing, or will it cling to the past, risking its place in the global economy? The UAW strikes back. Workers take a stand. The controversy between Trump and Stellantis has sparked more than just political debate. It's reignited the labor movement across the US. The United Auto Workers, one of the nation's most powerful unions, has stepped into the fray, leveraging the public outrage to demand accountability from Stellantis and other automakers. In a scathing public address, UAW President Shawn Fain took direct aim at Stellantis' outsourcing practices, stating, "This is corporate greed at its worst. Stellantis has turned its back on the American worker, and we will not stand by and let them destroy the livelihoods of thousands." The union has already organized protests outside Stellantis plants, drawing attention to layoffs and plant closures that have left communities devastated. But while the UAW's stance aligns with Trump's message of protecting American jobs, the two camps remain far apart politically. Fain, a known critic of Trump, dismissed his rhetoric as opportunistic grandstanding. He added, "Trump isn't fighting for workers. He's using them as pawns in his political game." This raises an important question. Will the workers' movement find a unified voice, or will political divisions weaken their cause? The fight for worker rights. The plight of Stellantis workers has become a flashpoint for labor advocates nationwide. Many argue that the company's transition to EV production, while necessary for staying competitive, has been mishandled. Instead of investing in American workers, Stellantis has chosen to relocate jobs overseas, fueling resentment among those left behind. During a recent UAW organized rally in Detroit, longtime auto worker Lisa Morales shared her story. "I gave 22 years to Stellantis. They said they were bringing jobs back with EVs, but all I see is our jobs being shipped off to Mexico. How are we supposed to survive this?" Her voice echoed the frustration of countless others who feel betrayed by the very company they helped build. The UAW is now pushing for new contracts that include stronger job protections, increased wages, and guaranteed retraining programs for displaced workers. But Stellantis has been resistant, arguing that its current investments in worker development are already significant. The standoff between Stellantis and the UAW raises a critical issue. Can companies and unions find common ground in a rapidly changing industry, or is this the beginning of an era defined by conflict? Political calculations. The involvement of the UAW has added another layer of complexity to Trump's campaign against Stellantis. While the union shares his critique of outsourcing, its leaders have been vocal in their opposition to his broader political agenda. This has created a strange dynamic where workers cheer Trump's attacks on Stellantis but remain wary of his motives. In an interview with MSNBC, political strategist Ana Navarro summed up the situation. Trump has managed to position himself as the voice of discontent among blue-collar workers, even though his policies often benefit the corporations they're fighting against. It's a masterful, if deeply cynical strategy. But Trump's base sees things differently. At a rally in Pennsylvania, a former UAW member named Tom Richards declared, "Trump is the only one who cares about us. The Democrats talk about helping workers, but they're the ones pushing these EV policies that are killing our jobs." This polarization has complicated the labor movement's efforts to build solidarity. Can the UAW unite workers across political divides, or will Trump's influence derail their mission? Who really wins? Stellantis' reliance on international markets has fueled a broader debate about globalization and its impact on American manufacturing. While the company argues that its global strategy is necessary for survival, critics claim it's a betrayal of American workers and values. Carlos Tavares, CEO of Stellantis, defended the company's approach during a recent earnings call. "We operate in a global market, and we must make decisions that ensure the longevity of our brands. This includes investing in regions where we see the greatest growth potential, such as Asia and Latin America." But Trump seized on these comments, calling them proof of Stellantis' disloyalty to the US. They're chasing profits in foreign countries while abandoning the people who made them successful in the first place, he said at a rally in Wisconsin. "It's un-American, plain and simple." A historical perspective. The debate over globalization is nothing new in the automotive industry. For decades, US automakers have relied on international partnerships and overseas production to remain competitive. Companies like Ford and General Motors have faced similar criticism but have largely avoided the level of scrutiny Stellantis is now experiencing. This raises a question: why has Stellantis become the primary target of Trump's attacks? Some analysts believe it's because the company represents a unique intersection of American and European interests, making it an easy scapegoat for nationalist rhetoric. Others point to Stellantis' heavy investments in Mexico, which Trump has used as a symbol of what he calls the outsourcing epidemic. During his 2016 campaign, Trump promised to bring manufacturing jobs back to America, and targeting Stellantis allows him to reignite that message for the 2024 election. The broader implications. The controversy surrounding Stellantis isn't just about one company, it's a microcosm of the challenges facing American industry as a whole. As globalization continues to reshape the economy, manufacturers must navigate a delicate balance between staying competitive and supporting their home countries. For policymakers, this raises tough questions. Should the government impose stricter regulations on outsourcing, or should it focus on incentivizing companies to invest in US workers and infrastructure? The answers to these questions will have far-reaching consequences, not just for Stellantis, but for the future of American manufacturing. The media frenzy. The Stellantis saga has become a media sensation, with outlets on both sides of the political spectrum weighing in. Conservative networks have rallied behind Trump, portraying him as the lone defender of American workers. Liberal commentators, meanwhile, have criticized his rhetoric as divisive and counterproductive. Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson recently dedicated an entire segment to the controversy, praising Trump's attacks on Stellantis as a necessary wake-up call for corporate America. Carlson argued that the company's actions exemplify the failures of globalization and the need for stronger national policies to protect US jobs. On the other hand, CNN's Anderson Cooper took a more skeptical view, questioning whether Trump's focus on Stellantis is genuine or merely a political ploy. It's easy to point fingers at one company, but what about the systemic issues driving these decisions? Trump's rhetoric may score points with his base, but it doesn't offer real solutions. Social media's role. The battle over Stellantis has also played out on social media, where hashtags like New York Stellantis betrayal and Trump v Stellantis have trended for weeks. Workers, activists, and politicians have taken to platforms like Twitter and Facebook to voice their opinions, further fueling the debate. In one viral tweet, UAW President Shawn Fain called on Stellantis to put their money where their mouth is and reinvest in American jobs. The tweet received thousands of likes and retweets, demonstrating the growing public support for the union's demands. But social media has also amplified misinformation, with false claims about Stellantis' practices spreading like wildfire. This has made it even harder to separate fact from fiction in an already contentious debate. The power of perception. In today's media-driven world, perception often matters more than reality. For Stellantis, the challenge isn't just defending its business strategy, it's winning the battle of public opinion. Can the company convince Americans that its global approach is necessary and fair? Or will Trump's attacks leave a lasting stain on its reputation? As the media frenzy continues, the stakes are higher than ever. The next moves by Stellantis, Trump, and the UAW will determine not just the outcome of this controversy, but the future of America's relationship with its automotive giants. Stellantis strikes back, corporate countermeasures. Faced with mounting criticism from Trump, the UAW, and the media, Stellantis has begun to push back in a big way. The company, known for its iconic brands like Jeep, Chrysler, and Dodge, has launched a public relations campaign aimed at defending its reputation and clarifying its business decisions. In a recent statement, Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares emphasized the company's commitment to innovation and sustainability. "We are not abandoning America. We are transforming our business to meet the demands of a rapidly changing industry," Tavares said. "The investments we're making in EV technology are not just for the company's future, but for the future of the planet." To back up its claims, Stellantis has highlighted key initiatives, including a $2 billion investment in a new battery plant in Michigan and the creation of over 1,000 high-tech jobs in Indiana. These moves are designed to counter the narrative that the company is turning its back on American workers. But are these efforts enough to sway public opinion, or has the damage from Trump's attacks already taken hold? The PR offensive. Stellantis has also enlisted high-profile allies in its fight for credibility. Environmentalists, industry leaders, and even some progressive politicians have spoken out in support of the company's EV strategy. Senator Bernie Sanders, for instance, acknowledged Stellantis' role in driving the green energy transition. "We can't ignore the challenges facing workers, but we also can't afford to delay the shift to clean energy. Stellantis is making the hard choices necessary to protect our planet," Sanders said during a recent town hall. However, not everyone is buying it. Critics argue that Stellantis' PR campaign is more about optics than substance. They're trying to greenwash their image while continuing to offshore jobs and cut costs at the expense of American workers, said labor activist Jane McCarthy in an interview with NPR. This battle over perception underscores a critical question. Can Stellantis rebuild trust with the American public, or will its efforts be dismissed as corporate spin? A legal and political showdown. Stellantis' counteroffensive isn't limited to public relations. The company has also sought legal and political remedies to protect its interests. It has lobbied Congress for subsidies to support domestic EV production, arguing that government incentives are essential to leveling the playing field with international competitors. But these efforts have faced resistance from both sides of the political aisle. Conservative lawmakers, emboldened by Trump's rhetoric, have criticized Stellantis for relying on taxpayer money while outsourcing jobs. Meanwhile, progressive Democrats have demanded stricter conditions on subsidies to ensure that they benefit American workers. This political gridlock has left Stellantis in a precarious position. Can the company navigate the minefield of partisan politics to secure the support it needs, or will it be caught in the crossfire? The Trump effect shaping the narrative. Trump's relentless focus on Stellantis has done more than tarnish the company's image. It has reshaped the broader conversation about American manufacturing. By casting Stellantis as the villain, Trump has amplified concerns about globalization, automation, and the future of work, forcing policymakers and industry leaders to confront these issues head-on. But some analysts argue that Trump's narrative is oversimplified. Blaming Stellantis for these challenges ignores the systemic forces at play, said economist Paul Krugman in a recent op-ed. The rise of EVs, the need for global supply chains, and the push for sustainability are trends that no single company can control. Trump's attacks are politically expedient but economically naive. Still, the power of Trump's messaging cannot be underestimated. His ability to galvanize public opinion has put immense pressure on Stellantis and other automakers, forcing them to defend their actions in an increasingly hostile environment. And one of the most striking aspects of Trump's campaign against Stellantis is its focus on key swing states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. These states, home to many of the workers affected by Stellantis' decisions, are crucial to Trump's re-election strategy. At a rally in Michigan, Trump directly appealed to these workers, saying, "I will fight for you like no one else has. Stellantis may have abandoned you, but I never will. Together we can bring back the jobs they took away." Now, this rhetoric has resonated deeply with voters in these regions, many of whom feel betrayed by the automotive industry's shift toward globalization and automation. But it has also sparked backlash from Democrats, who accuse Trump of exploiting workers' struggles for political gain. Will Trump's focus on Stellantis help him secure the swing states he needs to win in 2024, or will it backfire by alienating moderates and independents? What's next for Stellantis and the industry? As the dust settles from this political and economic firestorm, one thing is clear: the controversy surrounding Stellantis is far from over. The company faces a series of critical decisions that will determine not just its future, but the future of the American automotive industry. The success or failure of Stellantis's EV strategy will be the ultimate test of its vision. If the company can deliver affordable, high-quality electric vehicles that resonate with consumers, it may silence its critics and solidify its position as a leader in the industry. But the stakes are high. The EV market is becoming increasingly competitive, with Tesla, Rivian, and even legacy automakers like Ford and GM vying for dominance. Can Stellantis carve out a niche in this crowded field, or will it be left behind? Rebuilding trust with workers, consumers, and the public at large will also be crucial. This means addressing the concerns raised by the UAW, investing in American jobs, and demonstrating a genuine commitment to the communities that have been affected by its decisions. Stellantis has already taken steps in this direction, announcing plans to reopen its Belvidere plant in Illinois and expand its worker retraining programs. But these efforts must go further if the company hopes to heal the wounds caused by this controversy. The Stellantis saga is more than just a corporate drama. It's a reflection of the challenges and opportunities facing the American economy as a whole. The transition to a greener, more globalized future will require difficult choices and bold leadership. For Stellantis, this means finding a way to balance innovation with responsibility, profit with purpose, and globalization with loyalty. For America, it means grappling with the realities of a changing world while ensuring that no one is left behind. As this story continues to unfold, one thing is certain: the battle between Trump, Stellantis, and the forces of change is far from over. The decisions made in the coming months will shape the future of not just one company, but an entire industry, and perhaps even the nation itself. And there you have it, the explosive saga of Trump versus Stellantis, where politics, power, and profits collide. But this story is far from over. Who will come out on top? The workers demanding justice, the automaker fighting to adapt, or the political heavyweight turning this chaos into campaign fuel? Stick around for more twists and turns, and don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next in this high-octane drama.